Hello, and welcome to our long overdue April newsletter
in May.
in May. So you may be wondering, why is Alex wearing overalls? Why are we in a scary basement? This is actually the basement of my pop's house, and he's giving us space down here to store our stuff. You might recall on a newsletter from months ago when we first moved here that I had started digging out this basement, and I tweaked my back, and I've not come back to work on it since then until this month. And that's something I've been working on is digging out the dirt that the previous owner of the house left here so that we can have space to store our stuff when we go to Japan. So that's something that we're working on right now, and we thought it'd be a fun place to record the newsletter amidst all the dusty smells. So,
And with that in mind of overalls and basements, Alex has a joke for you.
oh, sure. Okay. So, what kind of overalls does Mario wear? Denim, denim, denim. So, it's the underground song from the Mario sing. Okay, we're underground. All right. Anyways, so let's get to the newsletter.
Yeah.
Okay, now, to business. So, because this is a long overdue newsletter, it's gonna kind of come off as a part one. Because part two is May, and we know what happened in May. But in order to keep this at a manageable length, we're not going to tell you about what's happening in May until we put out our May newsletter, which we plan to put out pretty close to this one, so that we can get all caught up. A lot has happened, and we'll be focusing on the events that happened in April with our travels and everything else. So take it away.
So just to get started, we'll tell you how all of our travel went, and it was a really great trip. Trips, I guess, because it was
Everywhere.
a lot of trips.
Yeah.
We met with a lot of people, mostly in groups, but there are some individuals we also met with too. And so we're going to start with Houston, where we met. We reached out to small groups.
People reached out to us.
People reached out to us to have groups too. And so we'll start with what happened in Houston.
Yeah. And so we did meet in small groups mostly, but there were also instances where like one couple actually arranged a group meeting that was outside of their small group, and they even like had sushi and Japanese candy. That was kind of amazing, and it was great to meet the people in that group, and in all the other groups we met, we got to meet a bunch of really fantastic, wonderful people. We also got to travel out to Sugar Land, which is within Houston. I mean, it's outside of Houston, but it's all part of the
Within Greater Houston.
the metropolitan area. No, maybe that's outside. Never mind. Don't ask me. Okay, it's in Sugar Land though, and we met with some wonderful people out there. It was at a church, and so that was great. And we also went to the actually we had to divide and conquer. So I went to the Houston Metro Presbytery while Heather met with a women's group. And at the Houston Metro Presbytery, for the first time, I was given the honor of speaking to the presbytery as a whole. So got to speak to all the pastors and other people. They were elders, that's right. They were at this presbytery, and they got to see, why is this guy been hanging around for the past few meetings, and it helped them make connections, and it helped me to meet people, and it's just good to be known at these meetings and to be able to make those connections. So that was cool.
And after that, we had a party in Houston. We met at a park with several families and individuals who have been supporting us through prayer and financially. And we just celebrated together. We had a great big brisket, and we made some watermelon ice cream.
Heather made this amazing dessert, and then multiple people kind of just pitched in like, well, we didn't even ask for people to bring food, but multiple people offered to bring food, and it ended up being a feast.
It was really awesome. It was super windy, but super fun. It was a great time to be with people that we love and who love us, and just celebrate community in a way. So we're so grateful for that party.
And we're so grateful for all of you who have already parted with us, even if you weren't able to make it to the party. But we wanted to just have a place to celebrate those of you who have joined our sending team. So thank you so much.
And then pretty soon after that, we ended up going back to Santa Fe for just a short visit before the rest of our travels ensued.
Oh, one thing before we say that. One other cool thing about at the party, there was a splash pad, and I actually I overheard a family talking, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Japanese. So I said, Nihongo wa hanashimasu ka? And are you speaking Japanese? And they're like, oh, what? Sugoi. They didn't say all that, but they, anyways, we just got to talk a little bit, and we exchanged contact information, and we may even get to practice language exchange over the phone. And so that was really cool that
Fun, yeah.
that God kind of brought that that
Opportunity.
happenstance,
Yeah.
yes, together. So anyways, go
So
on. Sorry
it
to
was
interrupt
really
you.
cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
so we came back to Santa Fe for a really quick stop before the rest of our travels ensued. The kids had their end of year celebration for school that we got to attend. And then after that, we went to Albuquerque. And in Albuquerque, there was a group from a church there that we got to meet with and share about, and just met two really wonderful families. It was a joy to be able to speak with them over fantastic dessert. And then
Yeah.
after that, we took off to Las Cruces.
That's right. And when we got to Las Cruces, we actually, so a little story to set this up. At the last Presbytery meeting we were at, we went out to eat a few times, and I met somebody there that I hadn't met before, and we kind of shared each other's testimonies, and we saw a lot of parallels. And he's like, well, man, if you ever come through Las Cruces again, let me know, and we've got a casita that we can put you up in. And so I let him know, and they housed us. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
That we got to stay with him and his family, and then we also got to speak at a church there in Las Cruces that wanted to have us come, and we got to meet a bunch of great people after the service, yeah, that was fantastic. Oh, and then we went to El Paso, right?
Yes.
Okay, and in El Paso, we went to El Paso because there was the Rio Grande Presbytery. So we hit up the Houston Metro Presbytery in Houston and the Rio Grande Presbytery in El Paso, and we also were able to give an update at that presbytery as well, since we got to speak at that presbytery last meeting as well. So they wanted to hear an update from us. So that was really great that they had us up again.
Yeah.
And while we were in El Paso, it was really cool because we actually got to stay with a family where the wife I worked with at Clear Lake High School. She was my next door neighbor. We both taught engineering. And so that was really cool that she took us all on, and the kids got to have a great time playing, and yeah, it was really
With our
wonderful.
kids, yeah.
Mhm.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
And then that was about 3.5 weeks or so of traveling and visiting that we got to do. And then we came back to Santa Fe. When we got back to Santa Fe, we actually got to meet with some groups here. And then also on video, we met with some friends of friends. And again, on video, we got to meet with Alex's side of the family too. And just
My mom's side. Yeah.
and update just them on what it is that we're
Right.
doing and where we're at with all of that. And so it was jam-packed, very full, 3.5, 4 weeks. And we also wanted to let you guys know how it was traveling with 4 kids. And it was very
new.
different. And it was
Yeah.
it was by far harder than any of our other travels before. And yet it was also so great to have all 4 of them and for us to just be traveling as a family unit.
Yeah.
And
But I think just like having all 4 of them there, especially the youngest one, yeah, is just, 3 is a hard age, and it really just tests your limits as a parent. And it just really just showed me that I have a long way to go in growing in love and patience. And but yeah, God is good. God is using it. And we just want to acknowledge that it was hard.
it was hard. I think it was also really
Yeah.
good for her though, like
Mm-hmm.
that we were all together. I think it was really special to be all together, to return back home to Houston.
Yeah.
And
Because
like
so many people wanted to see all of our family.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Yeah.
And like we had asked for in our last newsletter, just like shared that we wanted to do fun things with the kids too, since they'd be a part of it. We got to take them to the Houston Zoo. We got to go to so many parks. We got to do the Rose Garden in El Paso, which is one of only 15 municipal rose gardens in the States, which was beautiful. We got to do, we still did homeschool on our travels too, and they got to have a lot of time with their friends and with their cousins. So I think it was very special for them.
yeah. So our last newsletter, so now that we've been talking about travel, let's catch up to where we're at. So in our last newsletter, main newsletter we sent out, we asked for prayer as we were traveling to help meet this goal of 80% in order to be able to apply to go to pre-field training, which only takes place twice a year. So we wanted to try to make it to the one this summer, try to get to 80% by this summer, so we could go this summer and then go to Japan shortly afterwards. And so we want to catch you up on how God answered those prayers for us to reach 80% in time to go this summer. And so the last percent update we gave you guys was our second April mini update, where we said that we were at 60% of our monthly needs. And we sent that out right when we got home from our travels. We recorded on the way home, and then we sent it out when we got home. So when the end of the month came around, more of you partnered, and we got all the way up to 66%. And that's 2/3 of the way there. So we were happy, but we were also a little bit bummed because we didn't quite make it. And, my first instinct when we realized that we didn't make that deadline was that I just want to jump straight into forming out a new plan, into working on a new newsletter, and just get it out. And that's part of why even the April mini update, the second one, I said, well, we'll see you in a weekish, because that was my intent, was to send out another newsletter updating you as soon as we knew what our new percentage was at.
Yeah, but we talked to our friend Teresa, who is also the founder of Nagoya Christian School, and she just encouraged us to pause, to spend time in prayer, to invite people to come alongside and just spend some time praying before the Lord and asking for his wisdom, for his direction, for just discernment in what going forward looks like. And we're so glad that she did. So the following week, we had we set up 3 different times to pray for 30 minutes each. We sent out an email to everyone who's been supporting us, asking them if they'd consider joining one of those 30-minute prayer times to just pray with us and spend that time in fellowship. And we were really so encouraged. They were, all 3 of them, just wonderful times of meeting with you all, praying together, and remembering that this is really, it's all about the Lord. It's all about his timing. And so it was really awesome.
Yeah, it was. And it was kind of cool because the first prayer meeting we had, we didn't know this at the time. We found out later. But at the very time that we were praying during that meeting, a church was actually meeting, their missions committee was actually meeting about us and trying to discern what support might look like in partnering with us. And we found out pretty shortly after the meeting that they decided to become monthly partners with us. So that was kind of crazy that God was answering that prayer as we were praying for support, as we were praying for direction. God was already answering that prayer, and this church got back to us shortly after that. So that was really wild.
It was really crazy.
Yeah.
And so it was really good to have that week where we didn't give in to the pressure to respond immediately and just start making a plan, but just had an intentional time of waiting. And
it was like we were practicing the truth that God is in control. We're not the ones who are going to force our way into Japan. God is one who's going to provide, and he's going to be the one that makes it happen. And so just resting in that and practicing that truth was good. Yeah. And that brings us to what percent are we today? So we are so thankful. Because at the end of January, we were at 34%.
Yeah.
And 3.5 months later to today, we are now at 73%. Yeah. And so that's a 39% increase in just, like I said, 3.5 months.
Yeah.
So we're praising God for that. We're very happy for that. We obviously did not reach our goal and to be able to register for pre-field training this summer, and that was somewhat disappointing.
Yeah, we did feel disappointed, but at the same time, we also see just by resting and praying that it's actually pretty encouraging too, because sometimes it may seem that if you don't get what you prayed for, then God didn't answer, but sometimes no and wait, not sometimes. If he doesn't say yes, then no and wait are the answers. And that's a good thing. It's good because the answer came from the Lord. It's good because he's always doing good things and has purposes that we don't see. And so in a way, we actually feel really encouraged that we have, in a sense, a plan going forward, and hope going forward. Lots of hope in that it's a gift from God when He says no, and it's a gift to be able to watch Him reveal His plan and reveal His steps and show what it is that He's doing. And so I feel like that's exactly what it is that He's offering us a gift, saying this isn't what you wanted, but this is better, and I'm having you stay longer. And so we're wanting to accept this and be very thankful and with eyes open to see what He is about and what He's doing, and just be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So so in short, what does it mean that we didn't make this deadline? It means that the next pre-field training is in January.
Yeah.
And so we'll be shooting for getting to that pre-field training and going straight to Japan afterwards. So there's a lot more that we want to share with you about what's been going on and other future plans, including future goals and stuff like that. But here's the cliffhanger. We'll leave you on the edge of the cliff until our next newsletter, and we'll give you more information about that next time. So this brings us to the close of the main section of this newsletter, and we're going to go ahead and move on to
further stories. So start off further stories. We wanted to share some super cool news. Is that on Easter Sunday of this year, our two oldest kiddos, Clive and Lily, both got baptized, and it was really lovely. Our family came. My parents, Alex's parents, his brother and their his family came, and a lot of our friends from our church celebrated with us.
Even Uncle Steve came.
And shared the joy of our children giving their lives to the Lord and sharing that publicly. So it was a beautiful service, and it was lovely to see their little hearts just shine and glow. And so yeah, and it's exciting because like both Alex and I were baptized on Easter Sundays also in past years. So it's cool that we get to share that with our two older kiddos.
Yeah. And the last story we wanted to share is kind of crazy. And so when we presented to the group at Sugarland, Heather May ended up making a connection with a...
it's because we brought our kids, yes. And there weren't other really kids there until this mom walks in with some of her kids, and we just kind of like eyeballed each other. We're just all like, you got kids, I got kids, this is good, you know?
We're not the only ones. And like the kids were just like coming up in the middle of the presentation being like, hey Papa, can I come up here with you? And I'm like, sure, sweetheart. And so like it was just embracing the kidness of it all.
And they were eyeballing the other kids being like, hey, let's play, let's get together.
And so anyways, we Heather ended up talking with this mom for a long time, even after the meeting. And we said, okay, well, bye-bye.
For her, it was a farewell meeting for her because her family is moving to, or just moved to, like literally just got there to London. Her husband accepted a position there as a pastor. And so they were saying farewell to their church in order for them to go overseas too with their small children. So that was the big connection. Is that like, are we crazy for moving overseas with our kids? And like, no, we're crazy too. Yay, we can be crazy together. Yeah.
So excuse me, it's dusty down here. So anyways, so we said goodbye. We thought that was it. We drove away. We got halfway back to Dickinson where we were staying, and all of a sudden I saw an email. And it was from a name that I sort of recognized because this person actually signed up for a newsletter a long time ago, but I didn't quite know who it was. And he said, hey, my wife just met your wife, and I've been subscribed to your newsletter for a long time now, and we realized, wow, what a crazy connection. We should hang out sometime while you're in town. And I'm like, Heather, turn the car around. Yeah. And so
actually I was the one who's just like, I'm just gonna turn around and maybe they'll say yes.
Yeah. So we emailed back, and then we realized, we have their number, and we called them and said, what if we just come right now and hang out? They're like, yeah, let's do it. And so
we have no furniture. We literally just shipped it off today, but you're welcome to come.
Yeah. And so we drove back and we hung out with them and got to know them better. And our
kids had so much fun just running around with their kids and eating pizza. And
they ordered pizza for us, and Yeah, it was just a really great time of fellowship. And we even learned that one of his seminary professors, when he was in seminary, is actually now teaching at CBI in Nagoya. And he's Matt Newkirk, who we actually talk about a lot in our meetings because, he's actually teaching at the seminary in Nagoya, and he's like teaching Hebrew in Japanese, which is like
Yep.
amazing.
And his children are attending the Nagoya Christian School.
That's
And
right.
so it was just a really amazing connection.
Hmm.
Just to meet them, hear their story, and find more ways, and also just to connect on, are we crazy? Is this
Hmm.
crazy? It may
Yeah.
be crazy, but we like
But it's
we want
good
to submit to the
crazy.
Lord
Yeah.
and be where He wants us to be
Hmm.
when He wants us to be, doing what He wants us to do, and trusting that like He loves our kids more than we do. And so as we obey, we also know that like we're loving our kids, but also He's loving our kids,
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So that brings us to the very end of this
Yeah.
newsletter. And so we'll see you hopefully very soon for our May newsletter. So goodbye.